Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today, your primetime destination news. Newsmakers talking points. Our big talking point, is there a need for a NEET retest? A retest of the country's premier medical exam. Is an overhaul of the competitive exams needed? All this on a day when the kingpin in the paper leak scandal has been arrested. Also, VVIP tantrums expose an IAS probationer. An IAS officer could well have rigged the quota to get selected. We'll tell you her story. But our top story today, the lives of lakhs of students still remain on the edge, with the Supreme Court postponing their final decision on the NEET paper leak case now to 18th of July. That's next Thursday. The CBI's probe has revealed shocking findings, including a possible interstate link to the paper leak scam with Gujarat's Godhra connected to Bihar. The Bihar leak kingpin has been finally arrested. But the government insists that this was only a leak that took place in a particular part of the country. There is no need for a retest. They've also cited a Madras IIT report suggesting that most of those who qualified for the exam came from different centers across the country. The question is, amidst all this, what next for the students? And will this become an annual ritual? Do we need a complete overhaul of our examination systems, our competitive examination systems? Tonight, that's our top focus.
The battle over the NEET undergraduate exam mess is far from over. The Supreme Court on Thursday postponed the hearing on petitions seeking cancellation of the medical entrance exam held earlier this year, citing paper leak. The matter will be taken up on July 18th. Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud's bench deferred the hearing at the request of the petitioners' lawyers, who sought time to review affidavits filed by the Union Government and the National Testing Agency. The government's affidavit filed on Wednesday, quoting a data analytics report by IIT Madras, claimed that no mass malpractice or localized candidate advantage has taken place. The analysis reported normal mark distribution and an overall score increase across all centers. IIT Madras report on NEET results identified 25% reduction in syllabus as a factor for the higher score. The National Testing Agency, which conducts the exam, also filed an affidavit stating that its analysis of top 100 candidates showed they are from 95 centers in 18 states and union territories. The CBI, which has arrested many suspects in the Bihar paper leak, has taken over investigation into the irregularities in Gujarat. The CBI told a local court, citing police probe, that irregularities took place at 2 exam centers in Godhra. Many candidates from Bihar, Odisha, Rajasthan, Maharashtra and UP took their exams there. The same operators controlled both centers. They allegedly encouraged candidates to choose Gujarati as their exam language. These candidates were advised to mention Panchmahal or Vadodara as their permanent address. The CBI has arrested Dikshit Patel, the owner of Jai Jalaram School in Godhra, and 5 others. Voices within the government and from opposition are demanding a clean-up.
जब मेरे से बच्चे पूछते हैं तो मैं क्या कहूँगा कि हमारी सरकार ने इसके बारे में क्या सोचा है, नहीं सोचा। हमारी सरकार ने इसके बारे में सोचा है। ये नीट का जो एग्जाम है, इसके बारे में कुछ ना कुछ करना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो आने वाले समय के अंदर राजनीति के अंदर, सरकार के अंदर बच्चों की आस्था खत्म हो जाए।
वो 24 लाख बच्चे जानते हैं कि इस एग्जाम में क्या हुआ था। तो आप हो सकता है कि आप सुप्रीम कोर्ट में आप जीत जाओगे, मगर पब्लिक के दिल में नहीं जीतोगे। याद रखना, पब्लिक अलग है और कोर्ट अलग है।
Amid the clamour for accountability, Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan met panic-stricken NEET undergraduate aspirants on Thursday. It's not just NEET that is under scanner. The UGC NET exam was recently cancelled. The results of CUET exam for college admissions are delayed. The NEET for postgraduate admissions has been rescheduled for August 11th after a last-minute cancellation. The credibility of competitive exams in India are at stake. Bureau Report, India Today.
So is there a need for a NEET retest? Will a retest only add to the pressure on students? Overall of competitive exams needed, is that the solution? What really are the solutions then to this NEET mess? Joining me now is Sanju Verma, the BJP's evergreen national spokesperson, Shama Mohammed, the Congress's national spokesperson, Maheshwar Perry is chairman at Careers 360, and Vivek Thakur is managing director and founder at Scholars Den. We also hope to get voices of students who really are caught in the middle of this entire issue at the moment. Before I come to the politician, let me come to you, Maheshwar Perry, because you've been writing extensively on this. You must have read the government's affidavit saying that there's only a limited area where these paper leaks took place. They've cited particularly Bihar, and that almost 95% and even more, 95 of the top 100 students came from more than 60 coaching centers, 60 centers across the country. And therefore, there is no suspicion of a widespread leak or irregularity. Do you agree with that, that therefore a retest is not the solution?
See, Rajdeep, I've never said retest is the only solution. I only said that you need to go through a forensic audit. Now, let's look at the timeline of this whole thing. Somewhere in the month of June, you actually had this problem that's popping up. On July 11th, the government actually comes up with this audit that was, or some data analysis that was done by IIT Chennai, right? Why so 1 month? And the other problem that we're dealing with is the credibility of NTA is at an all-time low. Whatever you do at this point in time, it is up for challenge, it's up for question because the students no longer trust this process. And if you look at the data, whatever IIT report says of limited number of 100 people or 1,000 people or 3,000 people, whatever you do about this whole thing, Rajdeep, like today morning I was reading this IIT Chennai report which talks of how the 67 may 44 are because of physics, which means, remember, if I remove the 6 people also, 61 still got 716 on 7 out of 720. Right.
No, they say, as per the paper, Maheshwar Perry, they say the marks increase is seen across all centers. Higher NEET-UG scores were due to a 20% syllabus cut. So they say there is no evidence that it is abnormal.
No, it is abnormal, Rajdeep. If you draw up a proper bell curve for this whole thing, the inflation happened at the higher end, not at the lower end. The inflation, the score inflation and the rank inflation happened at the higher end, which is where the seats are. See, if you get a 10 lakh rank, it's meaningless. If you get a 1 lakh rank also, it's meaningless. The entire problem comes below 50,000 rank, and that is where you see the score inflation, and I still have a problem with that.
Okay, so you're saying that you believe you don't fully subscribe to the IIT Madras report, am I correct? You're saying that's not enough to suggest there is no widespread malpractice,
that's how it is.
Correct? Okay. Let me ask you, Vivek Thakur, Managing Director, Founder, Scholars Den.
Absolutely.
You look at these, you've also looked at this report closely. Is the government not telling the full truth, or are they banking on a IIT Madras report to cover up?
Rajdeep ji, actually, normal cases, what data analysts do, they do their analysis and then they come to a hypothesis. In this case, the situation is reversed. There is already a hypothesis from the government and NTA that there is no leak. There is no problem. So hence all the data that is supporting its hypothesis, only that is shown. Right from the beginning, even CGI told, why don't you put all the results in public domain without compromising on the secrecy of the candidates? Just put all the records. Which centers, how many numbers? And 3 years correlation between board marks and candidates' marks. And this angle of IIT Madras, let me tell you, this is a quid pro quo. In 2017, IIT Madras was at fault and Supreme Court gave it very strict instructions because of printing mistake in the paper. And then government came to the rescue of IIT Madras, and I was a party to in that case. And actually counseling of IIT was stayed. So this time, IIT Madras has come to the rescue of HRD Ministry and NTA. This is a very clear quid pro quo.
No, you're making a Mr. Thakur, you're making a very serious allegation. You are telling me that IIT Madras has a quid pro quo with the government of India to save the government of India's skin.
NTA
with
and
NTA.
Some people in government, yes.
Yes, but NTA is obviously linked to the government. Sanju Verma, these are very serious allegations that are being made.
I have evidence to this.
You claim you have evidence, but the affidavits that have come out in the Supreme Court, government says, look, this is only in a few centers, not across the country. The fact is, even as we speak, a kingpin has been arrested today, and there are links being established with what happened in Godhra. So at one level, the police is carrying out investigation, arresting kingpins, arresting people on the ground, but the government is saying, don't worry. We don't think there is a need for a retest. We don't think this is widespread. I mean, it appears that the government is also trying to somewhere play down what has happened.
You know, Rajdeep, first and foremost, let me say this. The BJP government completely in solidarity stands with all our students, all our youngsters, teenagers, people appearing in competitive entrance exams, because I think all of us are either parents or aunts or uncles to our children, nieces, nephews, what have you. So I would hate to politicize this because the career of youngsters is at stake. But since this is a debate which is also political in nature, let me make a couple of points for the benefit of your audience. First, what has the Modi government done? On the 20th of June 2024, the Modi government ordered a CBI probe into the matter, and that is exactly and precisely the reason you're seeing more than 6 arrests across the country, irrespective of whether in those concerned states it is a BJP government in power, a Congress government in power, or what have you. On the 21st of June 2024, the Public Examinations Act of 2024, which was notified in February 2024, was operationalized with maximum imprisonment of up to 10 years and maximum fine of up to 1 crore for errant behavior and for scamsters who cheat our students and wreak havoc with their careers. On the 22nd of June 2024, the Modi government instituted a high-powered committee under the former ISRO chief, K. Radhakrishnan, to not only conduct a thorough bona fide probe, but to also ensure that these kind of leakages or malpractices, what have you, are done with. There is transparency, there is accountability, and students are not left, at the short end of the stick. The moot point is this. When Mr. Vivek Thakur says that, the IIT Madras analytical report, which says there was no widespread, malpractice, maybe indirectly he feels that the BJP or the Modi government connived with IIT Madras to come out with a report which showed the government in good light and not in poor light. I have this to say to Mr. Thakur. You said you have proof. If you have proof, submit it to the concerned authorities, because even I can sit on a channel and say, Vivek Thakur runs a coaching center out of Moradabad, and I have heard horror stories.
This is not correct.
I have heard horror stories of students from your coaching center. But I'm not going to get into that.
No.
Don't make spurious allegations,
I didn't ask for your background that you have come from.
Don't make spurious allegations.
Sanju Verma. No, 1 minute. Please put her voice down. We are not here to, if you have proof against Mr. Vivek Thakur, then you put it in the public domain. Similarly,
Mr. Ask him for proof.
1 minute. Let him, you have proof, Mr. Thakur, of what you're saying when you say IIT Madras has connived with the government of India?
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that
you said there's a quid pro quo.
That is exactly what you said.
1 minute, ma'am. 1 minute, ma'am. Put your voice down.
Let me answer to that.
Yeah.
Yes, there was a clear case in 2017 where Supreme Court actually stayed counselling of JEE Advance, and the exam was conducted by IIT Madras. Similar case was there, great similarities with the NEET case, where actually Supreme Court pointed out that there were printing mistakes in the paper of Hindi, and in that case, after staying the counselling, in the next hearing, IIT Madras got away with strong support from the government. So that's why I'm pointing why IIT Madras and why
that is not proof. That is not proof of a quid pro quo. No, sir, let us be aware. When you make comments like a quid pro quo involving IIT Madras, you should come up with something much stronger than that. What may have happened in 2017 need not necessarily influence what's happened in 2024. If you have any problem with the analysis, as Maheshwar Perry said, he has a problem with... What is the problem with the analysis?
There are major problems. This is a statistics of convenience. See, even CGI told very clearly in the court that why not put all the results in public domain and let data analysts come up with the things. They are just digging that part of the entire data result, which is suiting this hypothesis that there is nothing wrong. See, I am just the voice of students because I am seeing their pain.
Students' pain cannot be the basis. Eventually, it has to be all factual. You have to get hard facts. Shama Mohammed, just a minute. Let's go with hard facts. The facts of the case as they stand is what when an affidavit is put, if you have flaws that you can point out in the affidavit, by all means tell me. But don't suspect a quid pro quo without putting the facts out. Shama Mohammed, do you believe that the government is engaging in damage control rather than confronting the issue head on? And if you do, what's the basis for you to say that?
See, the government of India is not confronting the issue at all. They have to be called out for contempt of the Supreme Court again. They lied. What did they say in the affidavit? They said the center says no widespread cheating and no particular groups benefited. Now let's look back. On 4th May, one day before the exam, a boy called Anurag Yadav says his uncle took him from Kota to Bihar, and the uncle gave him the examination paper. He said this to the economics offense wing. Mr. Prasad is the name of the uncle. He said he was given, and this paper was given by a kingpin called Nitish Kumar. This was in Bihar. The economics offense wing in Bihar arrested a BJP state. Then we get to know in Gujarat, in Godhra, again a coaching center, people got the papers. They were arrested by the Gujarat police. Then we understand that they were being arrested in Rajasthan as well as in Delhi for impersonation. Today we hear a guy called Rocky has been arrested in Jharkhand, and there is also another school principal from Hazaribagh and a couple of teachers also arrested. Then we hear the CBI has gone to West Bengal. So how can the government of India say it is not widespread when I've already given you 6 states? Of course it's widespread. And also localized gangs, localized groups in each state have benefited. Like my predecessors, 2 people who spoke here said, the thing in this exam is 67 got 720. Never before in the last 5 years, it's been 2123. The other thing is the grace marks of 1,563 odd people. When they gave the retest, hundreds of them did not attend. Why? Because they know what was behind the grace marks. And what does this IIT Madras say? Because one question can have 2 answers, and that's why people got marks. How can one? I have attended MCQs. I have done these exams, unlike the spokesperson sitting here from the Bharatiya Janata Party. I've attended medical exams, and I can tell you one question has 1 answer, including your son, Rajdeep. You can ask him also. It cannot be 2. So this is all make-believe. And the other thing is, if we look at the discrepancies here, on various things, of course there has been mass cheating over here. And according to me, the NTA has to be dissolved. Mr. Joshi has to resign, because let's understand how many exams have been postponed. NEET-UG, NEET undergraduate, NEET postgraduate, many, and constables exams, etc. The other thing...
Ma'am, just a minute. Yes, go ahead. Finish up.
One last point, Rajdeep. They brought in a law, Public Examination Act 2024. After that was in February. In March, there has been the constable's exam. There was a paper leak in UP. Okay, let's understand that. I want to understand why no case over there, why nobody was given the 10-year conviction and 1 crore fine. Because unless and until we convict people, nothing is, you can bring in laws. Unless you don't enforce these laws, you're not going anywhere. So
Ma'am, I've heard you now. No. Shama Mohammed.
70 paper leaks, Rajdeep. 70 paper leaks.
Those have taken place in BJP and Congress-ruled states. Let's not, there have been 70 paper leaks.
That's why you brought in a law.
Yeah,
that's why
1 minute, ma'am. Just a minute. Please put her voice down now. There have been 70 paper leaks in both BJP and Congress-ruled states. I want to come, though, Maheshwar Perry, while this will be debated whether this NEET exam, the leaks were mass or whether they were confined to a few areas. Here is a question that someone has asked me on WhatsApp, which is an important question. And that is going to become central, I think, going ahead. Do we need NEET? Do we need a centralized examination? Why not individual institutions decide who to admit and who not to? Have individual or state-wise exams, decentralize it. The moment you have this exam spread across the country in the manner that it is, The NTA's credibility comes under test, and there are parts of the country where if leakages take place, the entire exam goes for a toss. Is that the direction that we are going to have to move in? And as the NTA itself going to have to be relooked at its role?
So, Rajdeep, before answering that, I'll just go back to the earlier thing. Rajdeep, that moment NTA were to put up all the data of all the students and the ranks along with the school, and you can hide the details of the students, by the way, but just the rank and the center, trust me, a bomb is likely to explode. Yes. Trust me when I say this, because the data that we have done at this point in time of the top 100 is because the NTA came up with only the top 100 rankers details. Mm-hmm. The balance was only a data analysis that we were doing in terms of the score versus rank projections. Mm-hmm. If the NTA were to come up with the entire data of center-wise how many students have come up, trust me, there'll be a bigger problem. And that is what the CJ was also hinting at when he said, why don't you put up all the data up there? That's the first part of it. Two, I personally think that IIT Chennai has gone through a confirmation bias. That's my opinion, right? I don't have anything else but for the fact that I know that there's a confirmation bias because they were looking at a hypothesis and trying to prove a hypothesis, which is a problem for me, right? Now, coming back to the larger question that you asked of whether NTA should be dissolved or whether it should be a state level examination, right? My personal opinion is that any examination is unfair to people who cannot go through coaching. That's a fact. When you don't have access to coaching, when you cannot afford coaching, it is unfair to them, and that is why you actually have a socio-economic diversity problem in many of the universities in the country. Now, but still, pre-NTA days, it was larger corruption, which is below the table. Post-NTA, it is corruption above the table because the fees has been normalized. What was 5 lakh fee and 75 lakh as donation is now 1 crore fees, right? So, in a sense, if you look at all the examinations that you have in the country, they're only dealing with getting into, government colleges.
You see, you're looking at the equity argument.
Those kind of things.
No, Maheshwar Perry, you're looking at the equity argument, an argument that Tamil Nadu and other governments are making. They're saying that's why we need to decentralize. I am looking at the fact that year after year, and I'll put on the graphic, every year we've had some problem or the other with centralized exams. Is there a need, therefore, for a complete review of it? Vivek Thakur, do you believe that if you had our coaching centers like yours...
Rajdeep, I'll just add to that.
Yes.
Rajdeep, I'll just add to that.
Yes. Go ahead.
Rajdeep, I'll just add to that. The thing is, when you are having a CBSE as an examination body, Rajdeep, this problem was not there. And the reason was because the CBSE was in direct control of the schools. And it was not a very shallow relationship. In this particular case, when you open a center, when you enlist a center, and when you actually hire a center for that, there is always a serious problem. When CBSE was conducting the examination, it was conducting the examination in its own schools where the principal was their officer, where the principal was their employee possibly or reporting to them. And there was a much deeper relationship. It was not as shallow as when you enlist a center for a commercial consideration.
That comes back to decentralization.
Our protocols, our processes.
No, that comes back to decentralization and having an examination where accountability is greater. If you have one agency which is going to now decide for crores of students across the country, there is a possibility of leakages and of monitoring difficulties. Vivek Thakur, the coaching industries themselves, though, are prospering. As from what Maheshwar Perry suggests, the lakhs that students pay, it serves the interests of the coaching centers to have a NEET-like exam.
See, Rajdeep ji, I am also an IIT graduate, plus I am a student rights activist for a long time. There's a very clear perspective regarding coaching centers that they are making money. In reality, person like me, I am actually working with so many schools in this country in empowering the students so that they do not need to go to coaching at all. And two sons of a chai wala in Chandosi in Uttar Pradesh are actually studying in IIT. They were my students. So this is not the correct perspective because so many students from small cities and villages, they cannot afford to go to big public schools, private schools. So going to IIT and AIIMS, the only way for them is through coachings. So this is the way Sanjuji had been attacking me in past panel discussions also. 1 point. Second, coming back to the solution part that you said actually. The solution lies in two facts. Actually, the government and court both seem to be in a fix because both sides are finding that there is some trouble. Very simple solution. Two options are there. Number one, see top 20% students in each category. They are only in race they are the only contenders for government and private medical seats. Number one. So rest 80% are already out of race because the government and private medical colleges combined have 108,000 seats. So if you take top 20% from each category, general, OBC, SC, ST, all category, the number is around 436,000. It's easily doable because rest 80%, they didn't have access to the malpractices. Otherwise, they would have obviously scored very high. Number two, only 13 lakh students have qualified this exam. So why consider the disqualified people? They have already disqualified the cutoffs. So why are we all discussing at 23 lakh figures? Why not? Why cannot the government come up to the Supreme Court and say, just like in the case of grace marks, they actually came up with the solution that, okay, we are going to have a retest for the grace mark students. And it all went really well. Why don't they come up with a solution that, okay, since the credibility of this exam and NTA is all-time low, no student, you ask all students, no parents, no teachers are trusting NTA and this entire examination system. Why not reinstate the credibility and have the retest for top 20% students in each category? Number one option. Second option, only the qualified students, 13 lakh students.
So you're saying go for a retest for the 13 lakh students, but you're opening a Pandora's box because of course there will be students. It won't be easy. There will be students though who are claiming, look, we have cracked this exam. Why should we be denied the opportunity? Sanju Verma,
they are already out of the race.
May I please?
The qualified students also, those who have qualified, there are students who will claim that why should I have to go through the exam once I've qualified for it? But Sanju Verma, the government doesn't seem to want to lacks one factor, which is empathy. You see, all this is all very well. I have appointed a CBI investigation. There is a law now which will be far stricter. Where is the empathy? Where is the empathy to the students? I am showing those images of Dharmendra Pradhan. He has met some of the students, but the general attitude of the government is the students, those who are complaining, you remember originally, those who are complaining are motivated. That's the problem. There's a lack of trust. Government has not inspired trust in the students.
Rajdeep, I heard you. We are having a sensible debate. I will make a few very relevant points. First and foremost, thank you for showcasing that this quid pro quo that Mr. Vivek Thakur mentioned never existed, does not exist between the government and IIT Madras because Mr. Thakur could not substantiate his reckless allegations. I've met him only once before in a panel discussion. I've called out his bluff. I don't know him personally.
Move on to my question.
Thank you. I have one very interesting thing to say to Mr. Perry. He's obviously an entrepreneur in his own right, but he was an investment banker at SBI Capital Markets. He says that IIT Madras started with a confirmation bias. So, Mr. Perry, in good humor, I can tell you that you are starting with a rejection bias. Just as there's confirmation bias, there's also people who are prone to rejection bias. And they find a conspiracy in anything that the Narendra Modi government does, good, bad or ugly. But now I'll come to the more interesting bit. Let's move away from confirmation and rejection biases. And yes, since everybody's spoken about their educational qualifications, I've done my public policy economics from Oxford and worked in the best, JP Morgan, as an investment banker, if that is worth anything on this debate. Now let me come to the moot points. And let me say this. Whether this government lacks empathy, very respectfully, I disagree completely, unconditionally, unequivocally with evergreen anchor of India today, Rajdeep Sardesai. It is because today you have Narendra Modi at the helm of affairs, Rajdeep Sardesai, Sanju Verma and all the others on the panel are having a discussion on what can be done to improve the credibility of NTA. We had the All India Law exam, the All India Engineering exams, the All India, medical exams. All these exams saw massive paper leakages between 2006 and 2009. There was no TV discussion. The media was scared to even mention this when the proxy government of Sonia Gandhi / Manmohan Singh was in power. Let me finish now.
No, you're not giving me answers. I'm giving you 30 seconds more.
I'm coming to your question.
Yeah, please come to my question.
Now. Rajdeep, I'm answering you. Now let me talk about empathy. I always believe Rajdeep sitting here and talking about empathy is worth nothing. Sanju Verma sitting and talking about empathy is worth nothing. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. Action speaks louder than words. And I want to tell you something. There was a mention of a 23-year-old NEET aspirant called Anurag Yadav by the Congress spokesperson, and she is right. Anurag Yadav was given the NEET paper a day before the exam. And who did he name? He named Preetam Yadav. Who is Preetam Yadav? He is the personal secretary of Tejasvi Yadav.
Ma'am, we have gone through this in the past. You see, this is my problem. I am trying to look ahead. No, 1 minute, ma'am. We've had debates on this. No, please. I have spoken about... madam, again, you are making a reckless allegation. You are making a reckless allegation just like was made earlier. Because there is no proof at the moment. Let the CBI investigate if Tejas...
proof of anything that you say about
Madam, where are we? Okay, please.
Dharmendra Pradhan?
I asked you a word question on empathy. You've gone in another direction. मैं आपको ले जाना था China की तरफ. You've gone towards Nepal. But let's get Shama Mohammed in. Shama Mohammed has a final word. You see, these are issues that require a broad bipartisan consensus. Only then will we have a new exam. Y'all are saying you want NTA to. You're saying get rid of NTA. What is the solution then? Do y'all have a concrete solution?
No, I will tell you, Rajdeep, what we need to do. See, what I believe is that this sort of centralized exam, when we started this NEET, why was it done? Because there were 46 exams all over the country. There was a capitation issue, and we have different syllabus. We have the state board, the CBSE, the IB, and another syllabus. So this is the reason why we had it. And at that point of time, when it started, if a child wanted to write this exam after their 12th standard, they had to have 50% marks. You know what the Bharatiya Janata Party government did? First, they reduced it to 35%, and now it's 0. It's anybody who has finished their 12th standard can write NEET. I fail to understand, are we making car mechanics or are we making doctors? It's important that there should be a basic minimum age group. And the other thing, what
would you replace NTA with, ma'am? You're saying get rid of NTA. How would you replace the National Testing Agency?
I would want a JPC in this, that let all the political parties, because let's understand, education is in the concurrent list. So there should be a dialogue between states and the central government. For example, in Tamil Nadu, why do they want this? Why do they not want NEET? It's because the students there, before they study in Tamil medium in the rural areas, they go with their marks, how much marks they get into the medical colleges, and they get back into the system in Tamil Nadu, into the primary healthcare system. Now what's happened is, before it was around 15 to 20%, now only 1.5% are able to get through these exams. So therefore, unless we have in United States and UK, there is a standardized educational system. Let's understand that. All of them have public schools, which are very standardized. But we have multiple.
So are you calling for a decentralized exam to replace NEET?
I prefer a decentralized. Yes, we should go in for a decentralized. Unless and until
who will supervise? If there is no NTA, who will supervise it?
That's what I mentioned. There should be a discussion between the state and the center, since education falls in the concurrent list.
So you're saying that
let's get a discussion.
Okay.
And let's be a JPC.
Okay, you made the points. Sanju Verma has made her points. Maheshwar Perry has made.
Can I take 10 seconds more?
No, you can't get 10 seconds more. I have another guest today. I am not being biased towards you. Please don't tweet after the show that Rajdeep Sardesai didn't give me his 10 seconds. No, madam. I cannot.
Small point.
Aja, what is it? 20 seconds, and I'm counting. Go ahead.
Thank you. My one small point is this. But, let the opposition not politicize this, because NEET as a concept was introduced in 2010. The first NEET exam was held on the 5th of May 2013. When the Modi government came to power, it replaced NEET for the first 2 years.
Point taken. Point taken. Good point.
The Congress wanted NEET reinstated. You are not even proper.
News without noise. Put the volume down. Ma'am, I try and project the show as news without noise, and I get killed when there is so much of noise, but I appreciate you joining us. As I get older, I find it more difficult to deal with noise, but I appreciate my guests joining us. You, the viewer, must decide. Do we need a centralized exam, or do we need a more decentralized examination system? To our other big story, and you've been seeing some breaking flashes of it, the central government has now constituted a single-member committee chaired by a senior officer of the rank of Additional Secretary to Government of India to verify the candidature claims and other details of Ms. Pooja Manorama Dilip Khedkar. The committee will submit its report in 2 weeks. So the centre has to verify now Pooja Khedkar's IAS candidature. She is the IAS officer who allegedly has fudged her data, her details, including whether she used disability certificates, whether she used an OBC certificate, and she reportedly was asking for, among other things, for an Audi car and other benefits. Piyush Mishra now joins me live with the latest. Piyush, what is the Government of India planning to do here?
Well, Ajit, this has come after the intervention which has been made by PMO. What we are learning is that the central government has now formed a single-member committee that could be chaired by a senior officer of the rank of Additional Secretary to the Government of India, and the committee will verify the claims of the candidature of Pooja Khedkar. But what we are also given to understand is that the committee will have to submit its report within 2 weeks, and this has come in the wake of various social activists raising the objections over the certificates those were submitted by Pooja Khedkar for availing the concession. But we are also given to understand is that after the transfer of Pooja Khedkar, also the entire controversy has erupted. Remember that she was also seen using red beacon, and following which we had seen massive controversy had erupted. But we are given to understand is that now the central government has intervened and formed a single-member committee that could be chaired by senior officer of the rank of additional secretary to the government of India, and the committee will have to submit its report within 2 weeks.
Okay. This story, of course, thanks very much, Piyush, is part of what is started off as a power trip of an IAS trainee from Pune, Pooja Khedkar, but it's ended up sparking a national outrage over IAS officer, an IAS trainee, because she's accused of not only faking her disability certificate, skipping medical tests for the same, but also faking her OBC non-creamy layer status simply to crack the highly coveted civil services exam. She's also under the radar for her VVIP demands. The question is, has an IAS officer rigged the system? Take a look.
After the massive NEET scam row, now questions over UPSC exams that pick India's future bureaucrats, diplomats and police officers. Dr. Pooja Khedkar, an IAS probationer posted in Pune, has been transferred to Washim for alleged misuse of power. The transfer comes after Khedkar made news for seeking unauthorized privileges, such as using a private Audi car equipped with a red-blue beacon and VIP number plate and displaying a Maharashtra government board on her personal vehicle. Khedkar allegedly made demands for an official car with a VIP number plate, accommodation and an official chamber, which were against the protocol for probation officers. The officer is now embroiled in a bigger row after RTI activist Vijay Kumbhar claimed irregularities in her selection in UPSC exams. According to the activist, Khedkar allegedly submitted fake disability and non-creamy layer OBC certificates to clear the civil services examination. Khedkar claimed to be from non-creamy layer when her father, Dilip Khedkar, in 2024 Lok Sabha election affidavit listed assets valued at 40 crore rupees.
उनके पिताजी का जो एफिडेविट इलेक्शन कमीशन में उसमें उन्होंने अपने संपत्ति करीबन 40 करोड़ दिखाई है। अगर जिनके पिताजी की संपत्ति 40 करोड़ है, उनको नॉन क्रिमिनल सर्टिफिकेट मिल कैसे सकता है?
Pooja Khedkar declined to comment on the charges being leveled against her.
मला ऑथरायझेशन नाही ह्याच्याबद्दल काही बोलण्यासाठी.
नाही आपल्या घरी आष्टा करायचं. आपल्या घरी पोलीस गेलेले आहेत.
आय हॅव नो आयडिया. मला प्लीज विचारू नका ते. मी आता इथे आहे. लेट मी डू माय वर्क.
Allegations of irregularities in the selection of Pooja Khedkar could hit the credibility of the civil services exams if the loopholes are not plugged soon. Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's raise the big question. VVIP tantrums, have they exposed this IAS probationer? Did the IAS officer rig her quota and her disability criteria to get selected to the civil services? Does this also once again now affect this time the credibility of the UPSC exam? I'm joined by Mahesh Zagade. He's former Principal Secretary Maharashtra. Appreciate you joining us, sir. What is your sense when you've heard the details? Is this a exceptional case? Doesn't happen often that an IAS officer could be caught, a probationer, or possibly rigging her certificates and making all these VVIP demands? There are two separate issues here. But does this worry you that this could be happening, or is this a one-off case?
Rajdeep, it does worry because the kind of allegations are being made incessantly for last 2-3 days in social media and national TV channels and print media. There appears to be some credence to it. And the thing is revolving around 2-3 things. It's not so much for like a beacon demand for beacon light and the office that can be taken care of. Like this is also violation of rules because VIP culture is no more in the country and nobody can use the beacon light. Except policing and ambulances, all that. Even ministers are not allowed. But here, the police should have taken action. But that apart, I am not very much concerned about it. I am concerned about the creamy layer certificate. If that is faulty, And if the genuine creamy-layer, non-creamy-layer candidates are being denied their right, then it's a serious matter for the entire country.
No, but how would that have happened, Mr. Zagade? Is it possible that the system overlooked it? Can you in a way rig the system by producing a false creamy layer or a false, in this case, non-creamy layer OBC certificate, a fake disability certificate? Should there not be any checking, monitoring of it?
See, Rajdeep, like for caste certificate, there is one officer of the rank of deputy collector. He issues the caste certificate after the inquiry. And there is committee of senior officers called scrutiny committee. They finally vet the caste certificate.
Right.
Similar thing is not there for the non-creamy layer certificate. It is issued by the authorities and then that is taken at the as the proof. I believe that there is some lacuna in the system that what kind of system should be followed and whether it is to be vetted by the senior committee or not, it's not there. So it all depends on, revolves around one officer, whether he is giving it rightly or wrongly. So I think the system needs to be revamped. This is one aspect. Now, since the competition is so much, to get the non-creamy layer certificate, probably I am told that in many cases they show the divorce between husband and wife and the assets are transferred to one parent and the subject is supposed to be living with another parent having no income. So you get non-creamy layer certificate. It is going to that level.
So you've heard this before? No, what you are saying, sir, that you have heard that there are people who are getting the non-creamy layer certificate to get through the services using various techniques, including creating a divorce situation and then claiming that cheat.
Exactly, that's how it is being done. And for even the physically handicapped also, like physical handicap, there are also like many, there is murmur around that they also are being rigged and then manipulated. My simple issue is that after 75 years of the country's existence, the systems have to be in place before something new comes in. Like
Right.
if they are allowing non-creamy layer certificates on the physical handicap, whole foolproof system has to be there. That apart, but before appointing an officer to the post or taking as a trainee officer, the entire check has to be done. Foolproof has to be done.
I think you're making a very, very important point that you need a foolproof checking system. The present system clearly has loopholes. It is possible that Pooja Khedkar has misused those loopholes, and therefore this could well be an investigation that goes beyond her case but looks at the larger issue of the way non-creamy layer certificates, disability certificates are being issued for those who take benefits. Mr. Zagade, I appreciate you joining me here on the show tonight. Thank you very much. Thank
you, Raj.
Thank you very much. And let me turn from there to a visual that's just come in, which in a way reflects perhaps one of the challenges anyone in government today, in any government, will face, a stampede-like situation captured on camera in Gujarat's Bharuch. Hundreds of youngsters turning up for a job interview organized by a private firm which had just 10 vacant positions. In the video, which has since gone viral, a large crowd of the applicants can be heard struggling to enter a hotel where walk-in interviews were held. The crowd was so big that some of the applicants stood on the side railing, which eventually broke down. Fortunately, no injuries were reported. Meanwhile, leader of the opposition Rahul Gandhi has taken aim at the BJP once again, calling the video a proof of how the disease of unemployment is taking over India. Well, it could happen in any state of the country, not necessarily in Gujarat, as we can see there.
पूरे देश में गुजरात मॉडल रखा जाता है। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी कहते हैं अपने भाषण में कि हम हर साल 2 करोड़ युवाओं को रोजगार देंगे, तो अपने ही गुजरात में हमारी ये हालत है। हमारे लाखों युवाओं यहाँ बेरोजगार है। एशिया की सबसे बड़ी जीआईडीसी यहाँ होने के बावजूद, इतना सारा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर होने के बावजूद यहाँ स्थानिक युवाओं को रोजगार नहीं मिल रहा है।
वो कंपनी की गलती की वजह से ये घटना घटी है और इसके लिए हम भी चिंतित हैं और आने वाले समय में ऐसा कोई भी इंटरव्यू हो तो उसके लिए सावधानी बरती जाए। इसके लिए हम पूरी सावधानी रखने का सूचना हमने भी दे दिया है।
Well, let's move from there to the story that's the big political story coming in from Maharashtra, where the big semi-final ahead of the Maharashtra State Assembly election that will take place in October this year has begun. On Friday, that's tomorrow, voting will begin to elect the state's MLCs in the upper house of the Maharashtra Assembly. And guess what? Resort politics have already begun once again, because this has become a prestige fight ahead of this election. MLAs are now being kept in different hotels and resorts so that they can vote, some say freely, in tomorrow's poll. Take a look.
It is being billed as the semi-final before the big assembly election in Maharashtra this year. MLAs will vote to pick 11 members for the State Legislative Council on Friday. There is a fierce contest as there are 12 candidates in the fray for the 11 seats on offer. So it doesn't come as a surprise that political parties have packed off their MLAs to luxury hotels and resorts to shield them from any poaching bids. The BJP MLAs are camping at the Taj Precedent in Kolaba. Chief Minister Eknath Shinde's Shiv Sena legislators are holed up at the Taj Land's End in Bandra. Shiv Sena UBT is keeping its flock at the ITC Grand Maratha in Parel. Ajit Pawar's NCP MLAs are camping in Hotel Lalit near Andheri. Here is the maths. 23 votes are required to win a seat in the Legislative Council. From the ruling Mahayuti, there are 5 candidates from the BJP, 2 from Shiv Sena and 2 from the NCP. From the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi, Shiv Sena UBT and Congress have fielded 1 candidate each, while the NCP SCP has announced support to the Bharatiya Shetkari Kamgar Party nominee Jayant Patil. What has upset the calculations is Shiv Sena's UBT's decision to field Milind Narvekar, though it has only 15 MLAs, well short of the 23 needed. The NCP's second candidate and NCP SCP supported candidate Jayant Patil will also have to depend on MLAs of other parties to win.
ये रीजन यही है कि कल की स्ट्रैटेजी, कल की वोटिंग कैसी हो, इसके लिए मार्गदर्शन करने के लिए एनसीपी के जो भी एमएलएज है वो अजीत दादा के साथ कल भी थे, आज भी है और कल भी रहेंगे. डर तो दूसरी पार्टी को जो बचे हुए उनको रहना चाहिए क्योंकि उन्होंने रिस्क लिए, हमने नहीं.
The MLC elections have become a prestige battle for Maharashtra's political parties. With Mustafa Sheikh and Ritvik Balekar, Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's turn to tonight's Get Real India story. Over the years, Bihar's Kosi River has been known as the River of Sorrow. The recurring floods have brought life in many villages in the Kosi belt of Bihar to a standstill. Residents grappling to navigate from their inundated homes. Rohit Singh brings you the latest from Ground Zero. Take a look.
Kosi is often called the sorrow of Bihar because of recurrent floods. This year too, the river is causing much pain to people living in villages near it. The floods have made everyday life difficult for residents of Asai village. People are using boats to navigate through the village. The flooding has made it tough for food and amenities to reach the residents.
वोट लेने के लिए सब आता है लेकिन मदद के लिए कोई नहीं आता.
कोई ना आवे छे मदद के लिए. कोई ने हमार का ने 1 किलो चावल ने कि कोनो चीज हमार का कोई ने दे रहल है.
कितने दिन से पानी भरल छे?
15 दिन से.
15 दिन से पानी
भरल छे. कोनो आइ काल से नहीं पानी भरल छे.
They cannot escape the water as it has invaded their homes too.
किसी तरह बिताते हैं अपना नाव से, अपना किसी तरह किसी से मान के आपसे उससे बस भागने का भी रास्ता नहीं मिलता है. पूरा घर में पानी था सर हम लोग का. कुछ भी नहीं देता है. हम लोग को उपलब्ध नहीं है, नहीं मुखिया नहीं समिति कोई भी.
Daily life has come to a halt in Asai.
घर घर पानी चल जाता है. किसी को साधन नहीं होता कोनो चीज को. हमने बाल को बच्चा को किसी को स्कूल तिस्कूल सब बंद हो गया है. किसी को कहाँ जाने की व्यवस्था नहीं है. इस रास्ता पेरा जो बना हुआ है वो भी टूट गया है. इतना सारी उठाते हैं महिला लोग तब अंदर ऊपर से ऊपर जाता है हम लोग.
The flooding in Bihar is a recurring issue in the state. However, little has been done to bring relief to the people. With Rohit Singh in Asai village, Bureau Report, India Today.